So this video will go over the first problem of the chapter 7 review. So chapter 7 is a chapter that starts with a review of what are the three states of matter: the solid state, the liquid state, and the gas state. And then there is an emphasis on the fact that what determines that you have a solid, a liquid, or a gas is the balance between the average kinetic energy of the substance and the strength of the interactions between the molecules of that substance. And so, for example, if you have a strong intermolecular forces between the molecules of a substance and a small amount of kinetic energy, then you will have more likely a solid or maybe a liquid at room temperature. But if your substance has a lot of kinetic energy and the interactions between the molecules are weak, then you're more likely to have a gas, right? So the balance between these two determines if you have a gas, a liquid, or a solid at room temperature. And then the chapter goes over gases, and there is a first part on gases. And so there is this kinetic molecular theory of gases that goes over, what is the definition of a gas. And so we will go over this problem 1 that will help us review what is the kinetic molecular theory saying about gases. So answer true or false for each of the following. And so use the chat to answer. So statement A, gases are composed of small particles. So is it true or false? And here the kinetic molecular theory doesn't really specify if the particles are small. However, large molecules would require more kinetic energy to be in the gas phase, because to be able to move around and fly around, you need more and more energy if your particle is bigger and bigger. And so you have more chances to have gases when the particles are small. And so true, this is true. The gases are composed of small particles. Typically, you will have a gas when you have a small molecule. Statement B, gases molecules are usually close together. So is it true or false? And here, this is false, right? It's actually the contrary. They are not close together. They're actually far apart, right? And that's what the kinetic molecular theory says. The molecules are far apart. They are not close like in the liquid or solid state. Statement C, gas molecules move rapidly because they are strongly attracted. So is this true or false? And so the first part of the statement, gas molecules move rapidly, that's true. Because they are strongly attracted, that's false. So it is false because, yes, they move rapidly, but it's not, the reason is not because they are strongly attracted. On the contrary, if they were strongly attracted, they would clump together and you would not have a gas anymore. So there is no attractions and repulsions between gas molecules, actually. So statement D, distances between gas molecules are large. So is this true or false? And that's true. We said that the gas particles are small and there is a lot of space between them, right? There's a lot of distance between the gas particles. The kinetic molecular theory says that the size of the gas particles is small compared to the space between the particles. So yes, the distance between the particles is large. Statement E, gas molecules travel in straight lines until they collide. Is this true or false? And that's true. They do move in straight lines until they hit a wall or collide, with another particle. And then they will rebound and travel in a new direction, right? So it's true, they keep moving in straight lines until they collide, and then they rebound and travel in a new direction. Statement F. Pressure is the force of gas particles striking the walls of a container. Is this true or false? And that's true. Yes, pressure is the fact that the gas particles are, flying around until they collide, and so then they hit a wall or they hit each other. But when they hit the wall, they kind of push on it, right? And that push is a force. And the units of psi for pressure, which is a pound per square inches, they really tells you that it's a force per unit area, because pound represents the force, per square inches is the unit area. And so pressure is that force per unit area. Statement G, kinetic energy decreases with increasing temperature. So true or false? And that's false, yes, because it's the reverse. The kinetic energy actually increases with increasing temperature. Because temperature is really representing that kinetic energy, and kinetic energy is energy of movement. And so particles are moving very slowly when temperature is low, and moving very fast when temperature is large. And so, the faster they move, the more kinetic energy they have, because that's representing the energy of movement. So it's the reverse. The kinetic energy increases with increasing temperature. Statement H, 450 K is a measure of temperature. Is it true or false? And that's true. It's true because so K is for Kelvin, and 450 Kelvin is a measure of temperature. The Kelvin is the only scale that can be used in equations that use temperature, because this is the absolute scale that really represents what temperature is about. Kelvin has no negative values. The smaller value is the 0 Kelvin, the absolute 0. And then from that, it goes only into positive values and increases. And so it really represents what temperature is about, which is, amount of kinetic energy, and that can only be positive, right? Movement can only be a positive value. And so that's why the Kelvin is used in science and in all equations that use the temperature. 3.56 pound is a measure of pressure. Is it true or false? And that's false, because pressure is not just a pound, it's pound per square inches, for example. So pound or grams are measures of mass. So just pound like that are a mass. Pressure is, as we said earlier, force per unit area, and a force per unit area can be represented, for example, by pound per square inches. So that's not, a measure of pressure.